Hello and welcome to Inspiring Perth Academy, and over the course of February we'll be bringing you 4 interviews with 4 different people from across different industries in Scotland, with the aim of showing you that there are loads of different options after you leave school.
We hope that you'll be able to learn something from our inspiring guests and that this may help you with future pathways through Perth Academy and beyond.
Joining us today is a former Academy pupil. She was captain of the Scottish women's national football team. It's no other than Gemma Fay.
Hello and welcome, Gemma, to Inspiring Perth Academy. It's great to have you on. It's brilliant. And do you know what? Let's just jump right into it. So we know what you're all about, what your job is at the minute, and we were just wondering if football was always your dream growing up.
Yeah, it was always. I think I was like anybody else, where you run around your garden and you play with your brothers. I had brothers, I didn't have a sister at the time. And you score and you do a knee slide, which is obviously not as good as the professionals, and Fay for Scotland and all this kind of stuff. And to have that come into a reality was amazing. It wasn't as if it was a career path. I think it's fantastic now that a young girl can start in playing football and ultimately become a professional footballer. That didn't really exist in my day unless you played for America, who kind of toured as a team. So there wasn't one moment that I said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I just always enjoyed doing it. So I kept doing it and I kept wanting to get better. And
did Perth Academy have any influence as well on football? Like, did they give you any opportunities or anything like that?
So I went to Vealings Primary School. So I always used to play with the boys and the boys team at Vealings Primary School. We used to play, I don't know if the kids down there still play, we used to play kickball, which is basically rounders, but you kick it. When I came up to Perth Academy, there wasn't really anything for girls football wise, but in terms of encouraging me in sport and PE, I had some really great teachers. I don't know if she's still there, Mrs. Davison.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah, so she was just starting off when I was there. So I really loved PE, and they made it really exciting and really fun, and they were always supportive of what I did.
And Gemma, going from sort of being a professional footballer and starting off, and then ended up being the captain of Scotland. How did that happen? Did it just sort of...
I mean, the story of how I became captain was funny because Julie Fleeting was captain at the time, and she kind of stopped for a while because she was about to give birth to her first child, and I was kind of sat down in a room and asked if I wanted to be captain, and of course you don't ever say no to that, but I'm not looking back now, I'm not sure I was what you call fully qualified. There wasn't really mentorships on nothing like there is nowadays. So I kind of learnt how to be a captain by kind of falling flat quite a few times, and then learning that you have to listen more than you talk, and delegation is really important. And it took me a few years to get there. So being asked to be captain of your national team is a massive honour. It's not something that everybody gets to do. So I was delighted to be asked, but it was tough. It wasn't always easy.
And just how did it feel in general just to be one of the most capped Scottish football players of all time?
I don't actually think about it that much. There's so much to do in my job at the moment. But I mean, I catch myself when I reflect back, and I played for nearly 20 years. And trust me, guys, when you get to my age, you still think you were at school yesterday. When they say time flies, it actually does fly. But I actually have to stop sometimes and just remember what I achieved, and not just personally, but with the team that I was with and the people. And I look at the infrastructure of football in Scotland now, and yes, it can always be better, but it's night and day from where it was. And I'm just thankful to have been part of a national team that helped push that. But I'm also really thankful to all those volunteers that people whose names that won't be known, that helped me in my journey, and ultimately has helped a lot of other people to realise their dream. There was so many people at different clubs that helped me, that are no longer maybe in the game, or maybe not even here, but those are the kinds of people that have made what it is now a reality.
And you mentioned the sort of strides forwards that we've made in women's football. I think there's certain things that you'd still like to see change.
Yeah, I think we've got a national team that have performed at the last 2 championships. I was thankful enough to be part of that first team that made it to major championships, and that was kind of a watershed moment. And then for that to be backed up to go to a World Cup, I think it's fantastic. Fortunately, the team didn't make it to the European Championships that's happening next year. Maybe that's a warning sign in terms of, we can't rest on our laurels, and the game still needs to develop. yes, we have some full-time professionals. I think we need to strive towards it being a full-time league. I think that really needs to happen. But it's not just about making players full-time. It's about the whole infrastructure around it, the commercialisation, the media exposure. It's really about, when you get to that top end of football, and you guys don't know, watching like the English Premier League, it's an entertainment business. It's a fantastic product, and I think the quality and the passion and the players are there, and the enthusiasm within the clubs themselves is there to make it bigger and better. And I think it's a case of dreaming big and never knowing when you're being beaten, or never know when you're done. You just keep going and going and going, and you know, you'll be surprised about what can happen.
And just kind of steering away from football a wee bit, we did a wee bit of research and found out that you're head of Women and Girls Rugby Union, and we were just wondering if you could tell us just a wee bit about that and how you got involved.
Yeah, so I'm head of girls and women's performance rugby at Scottish Rugby, so it's correct in that one, only because when you say that, then all of a sudden people think I'm head of rugby union. I'm not. Yeah, so how did I get into that? So I'm from essentially a rugby family. So my dad played for Perthshire, my brother played for Perthshire, my brother's played for Perth Academy under Bruce Beckett. I did rugby at school, so we did rugby and PE as well. Besides being a footballer, I was only like a professional footballer towards the end of my career. Throughout the rest of my career, I worked as a sport professional. So I started off being a girls and women's development officer in the Sport Tayside in Fife. I then went to the Western Institute of Sport and worked there with like elite athletes, and then I moved to Sport Scotland to be a partnership manager, where I was there for a number of years, and they were really supportive as the National Agency of Sport. I worked part-time there for a long period of time, so part-time there, part-time professional, and then actually went full professional. So everything that I had done in my professional career, so a lot of people knew me for Gemma the footballer, but didn't know that I actually worked for like 14 years in sports development, in board development, in governance development, in pathway development, in athlete development. So I was contacted about the job within Scottish Rugby, and I was just retiring at the end of 2017, and I wanted something, a new focus and a new challenge. And I felt like the journey that Scottish Rugby were going on with the women's team was something I had experienced in women's football personally, but also the skills that I had. I thought, you know, this is the challenge. It's not often that you're asked to head up a national programme. That doesn't come around very often. So I thought, you know, this is a great opportunity for me to take, and it's been really challenging, but really rewarding at the same time.
Just to kind of finish this section off, we're just wondering, what message would you give to the pupils of Perth Academy in these difficult times? It's
going to be okay. That sounds a bit cheesy and corny, but it is. Like, I remember when I left school, I went and I did applied sports science at Edinburgh University, because I thought that's what I was good at and that's what I should do. I wish I'd taken a bit more time and spoken to other people. I might have gone down a different path, but I wasn't clear about what I wanted to do when I left school. I wasn't clear about that at all. But that was okay, because part of the journey, some people might be really clear and have a plan, and that works for them. Especially in this time when everything's difficult, everything's changing, we're not around each other. I think the first thing is stay close to good people. Reach out to those that can help you make decisions. Don't panic that this next year is the be all and the end all. Your life is a long journey, and you're going to make mistakes, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine, as long as you take the lessons from that. And you will get there in the end. You will get where you want to go, even if you don't know where that is right now.
We will move on to the quickfire section.
We're just wondering what your favourite football team is.
There is only one football team, isn't there?
Yeah.
Super Sainties. That's not St Mirren, that's St Johnstone.
Correct answer. If you could have played in any other position in your career, what would it be and why?
Well, I'm obviously the best striker Scotland's never had, as every goalkeeper. And there's a simple reason for that, because all goalkeepers know what goalkeepers don't like. Therefore, if you're a striker, you know exactly what to do.
What is your most favourite country that you've played in?
Wow. I know this is quickfire, but that's difficult. I've played in a lot. Maybe some of the countries that like a Macedonia that I would never have ever gone to.
Who's the best player you've ever played against?
A player called Birgit Prince for Germany was phenomenal. I played against Mia Hamm. She was also phenomenal. Abby Wambach was phenomenal. Kelly Smith was phenomenal. Yeah, I've played against quite a few of them. Luckily, unfortunately, they've scored against me quite a few times as well.
What is your favourite film of all time?
Something probably Goodfellas.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
All words and no action.
No.
Very good. What was your favourite and least favourite subject at school?
My favourite subject was history. My least favourite subject was modern studies, although I think I quite like it now.
Very good. And final question, last but not least, if you could have a dinner party with 3 people, who would they be and why?
Oh, 3 people. Probably Nelson Mandela, Billie Jean King, and there's a bit of a soppy one. One of my grandparents. I never met any of them. They all unfortunately died before I was born, so it'd be nice to touch base with them, actually meet them.
Right. That brings us to the end of the interview. Gemma, thank you so much for being on.
No problem.
You can catch us again next week. We're going to have Louise McDonald, the CEO of Young Scot. You can follow us at Academy SPLT on Twitter, at Perth Academy SPLT on Instagram. Thank you so much, and we will see you again next week with another interview.